Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming out through CyberNow Education. I'm Bryson Payne. I'm the director of the Institute for Cyber Operations at the University of North Georgia. I'm also the author of a few books, including Go Hack Yourself. Today we're going to be talking about cybersecurity for seniors, but this applies to anybody from middle school all the way through senior citizen. I pulled these tips from my book, Go Hack Yourself, and I subtitle it, Think Like a Hacker to Prevent Cyber Attacks, or Think Like a Hacker to Avoid Getting Scammed. So thank you for coming out to spend today with me. This is all going to be recorded and posted on the CyberNow webpage, so feel free to join in, and we'll hopefully have a good interactive session today. Feel free to ask some questions in the chat, and Tyler, jump in and let me know if I miss any questions that come up. I appreciate it. So first of all, a little bit of information about me. I do have a PhD in computer science. I've been teaching computer science and cybersecurity for 27 years now for the University System of Georgia. I got my PhD at Georgia State University. I spent 6 years as a chief information officer and hired our first CISO, our first chief information security officer at the university as well. So I've spent a little bit of time on both sides of the university in IT and as a computer science professor training those IT folks. I'm the director now of our Institute for Cyber Operations at the University of Georgia, North Georgia. That is a multi-year, multi-million-dollar Department of Defense grant to help build future cyber leaders. I mentioned I'm the author of a few books. I've got two of them on the screen there. Teach Your Kids to Code was my first one back in 2015, and Go Hack Yourself is one of my more recent books. I'm also a coach for the UNG Cyberhawks. I coach our cyber teams. They were #1 in the nation in the 2019 and 2020 NSA Codebreaker Challenges. These last 8 years, we've been in the top 10 out of 600 schools in the country that compete. Us and Georgia Tech are the only schools from Georgia that have consistently been at the top of that competition for most of the past 8 years. And then I am a member of the coaching staff. I'm a senior technical mentor, and I work in the pipeline program for the U.S. cyber team. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some tips that come from my book, Go Hack Yourself. But everything that you need we'll show here, and we'll even give you some information for other resources. We're going to show you 10 things you can do right now to protect yourself online. And we're going to demonstrate a couple of actual hacks that either you can do or that attackers can do to trick you out of your personal information. I'm sure some of you, if you are still working, you probably get a phishing email test from your organization if you're at a big organization. Actually, most mid-size or larger organizations these days are sending out test phishing emails to their employees. We're going to see how you can actually build one of those really easy, but we'll also demonstrate how easy it is for an attacker to build a phishing web page that could trick you. We'll show the real hands-on attacks to illustrate both the why and the how to protect yourself and the people you care about. So the very first tip that I give to anyone, whether this is a second lieutenant who's going into the U.S. Army cyber branch or a freshman in high school when I'm giving a talk out at a K-12 institution in the state, all the way up to seniors who come to our Rotary events or Chamber of Commerce events. Just realize you are a target. You may think, well, I'm not some big money person. I'm not the CEO of a company. Even if you are, you may still feel like, well, nobody knows about me. Nobody's after my bank accounts. But I'm telling you, there are people out there in the world who are out to get anything they can from anybody they can. You are a target. Even if the attacker never knows your name, there are traps set out there, viruses, phishing web pages, phishing text messages that are just blasted to tens of millions of people in hopes that 1 or 2 or 100 or 300 will click through and provide their personal information, maybe give a password away, maybe give access to their credit cards or banking information or even more sensitive information. The worst thing that you can ever do is say it'll never happen to me. Just a few smart precautions that we're going to go through today can help you avoid being an easy target. Just knowing that you're a target is an important first step in protecting yourself. It also helps you talk to your family members, talk to your employees, talk to your colleagues, your coworkers, so that you can help them protect themselves as well. I don't know if you know the old joke about two guys who are out in the woods. They're sitting around the campfire, and a bear starts charging toward them. Well, one of the guys gets up and starts running. The other one sits down and starts putting on his tennis shoes. And the one that's running says, "You know, you're not going to be able to outrun that bear just because you got your shoes on." He says, "No, but I might be able to outrun you." Unfortunately, that's what the internet is like out there. You don't have to be 100% secure all the time, but you need to make sure that you're not low-hanging fruit, that you're not the easy target, you're not the easy victim for a lot of these scammers. In fact, most scammers won't do the extra work to go after you. If you've got your tennis shoes on, if you're prepared with what we're talking about today, you're going to be able to be in a much better position than somebody who doesn't have any of this information. That's why I try to give these talks everywhere I can, civic organizations, schools, churches, just so that people get a chance to protect themselves and avoid being an easy target. So here is one of the most common ways that attackers are getting people to click through these days. You might have had this happen to you. There are malicious ads out on the internet. There are malicious web pages. And this is a combination of two. This is a malicious ad that made a top sponsored result in Google. This was not yesterday. Sorry, it was right before I gave this presentation a few weeks ago. But this was the Amazon official site. It seems to say in Google, but you notice I mistyped Amazon. I typed AMAXON. And instead of Amazon, which this looks like, this is a sponsored result for Amazon. It says Amazon official site. It looks official. But when you clicked it, it took you to a page that looked like this, a pop-up window that says virus alert, Microsoft Windows is locked due to unusual activity. Call this 1-833 number, or this 1-866, or this 1-800 number. Doesn't matter how authentic everything on this page looks. It looks like you're on the real Microsoft page, except for this really long, weird URL up here. This was actually a malicious ad placed in Google under a sponsored result. And I was able to report this one to Google right after it happened. Because even Google can't prevent every malicious site. In this case, a sponsored malicious site that looked like Amazon, except Amazon doesn't say Amazon official site. And it doesn't have quick dry aqua socks and swim beach barefoot yoga exercise wear listed as its description on Google. But this was a great example, and one that you can easily fall into. You think you're clicking through to the right page, but you've mistyped something, and all of a sudden this pops up. And just like in the movies, yep, the beekeeper, that's exactly what happened. One of the comments out in the chat, if you watch the movie The Beekeeper with Jason Statham and Felicia Rashad, this is what happens to her. She's on her computer, and all of a sudden something pops up. And a criminal organization is on the other end of that 1-833 number. And that could be right here in the United States. It could be on the other side of the country. It could be on the other side of the globe. Remember, if it's free for the hackers to put this information out there, to put these links out there, or it costs just a few pennies to put this up as a sponsored result in Google or another ad service, all it takes is one person clicking through and giving these attackers $100, $1,000, $100,000 to finance their entire operation for days, months, or years. So whenever you see something like this, especially if you see an odd URL in the window there, you just want to close your browser, walk away, turn off your computer, turn it back on again, and come back and try going out to Amazon with a Z.com directly. Don't click through your sponsored results in Google. Make sure you're going down to real results, because those sponsored results can be malicious. And this leads us to our number 2 and our first real live demo. Watch out for social engineering. Social engineering is where someone tries to trick you into doing something against your own best interest, using just common psychological triggers like urgency. You've been hacked, or that pop-up window that we just saw. that looks like you've got a virus and you need to call that 1-800 number. They're trying to get you to react without thinking, to react before your frontal lobe, the more informed part of your brain, kicks in and does a little bit of analysis. And says, wait a minute, this is just a web page that looks like Microsoft, but that is not Microsoft's address up there. And I wasn't going to Microsoft, I was going to Amazon. So hackers are trying to get you to react and to do something that's against your own best interest or against your company's best interest, either online or in person. Stop and think about whether this is the right thing to do at the moment, whether this makes sense. You can block unwanted contacts. Just don't answer phone calls from people that you don't know. Let them leave a voice message. And if they leave a voice message and they're the real person that you actually want to talk with, then you can call them back. But delete suspicious emails, hang up on robocalls, and delete spam SMS text messages. That's a good point. There was a good comment out in the comments there that these are threat actors, these are attackers, these are criminals, not the old school definition of hacker. But you want to block unwanted calls, unwanted contacts, delete suspicious emails, hang up on robocalls, delete those spam text messages. You don't have to forward them to anybody unless you have somebody in your family that is the person that you call to tell you whether something is a scam or not. 99.99999 plus a few more nines % of the time, if you think it's a scam, it is a scam. So you don't have to worry about it, just delete it. The IRS is not going to text message you that you need to do something. They'll send you a nice official business piece of mail. So while you're at it, hold yourself back from sharing too much information on social media as well. For example, if you're on vacation and you're taking beautiful pictures, wait until you come back to post about the vacation you just got back from, instead of advertising to the world on Facebook, Instagram, or other social media platforms that your house is unoccupied. You're away from home for 2 weeks in beautiful fill in the blank on the other side of the planet. So hold yourself back until you get back. It's still fine to brag about the really cool places you've been. It's still fine to keep your family informed if social media is how you keep in touch with long lost relatives. But do it when you're back, you're in your home, and you can say, hey, last week or last month, we got a chance to do a beautiful trip, and brag all you want to. So here's an example of a social engineering text message. Now, I would ask for people to raise hands, but I'm pretty sure the answer would be about 100%. Just about every one of my students these days in my college classes has received a message that looks something like this. Now, you notice the +63 country code at the front of this one. That's one thing that gives this away, that this is probably not the real United States Postal Service, because they're calling you from outside the country. But it is possible to spoof those text numbers. It's possible to spoof a phone number. Spoofing just means that they can use computer equipment to make it look like they're calling from 1-800 number or from an official government line. So even the country code there was the first giveaway, but that could be replaced or covered up or spoofed with a fake phone number that actually does appear on the United States Postal Service's website. But around the holidays, this is especially prominent. This one was one that came in over the Christmas break, when everybody had packages that were being delivered around the world, or it felt like everybody was waiting on boxes from Amazon just about every day. It says USPS package has arrived at the warehouse and could not be delivered due to an invalid zip code address being detected. Please confirm the zip code address information in the link. Now, there are a couple of things that look pretty official here. First of all, no big misspellings. They didn't say a USPS package or anything like that. But nothing misspelled, nothing horribly wrong here. It even has USPS.com as part of the address, but that's not all of the address. So this looks like it might fool a percentage of people, or it might even fool a well-trained cyber operator in the case of if you catch them at the wrong time of day. This was at 9:52 a.m. It could be before somebody's first cup of coffee. Another really common time to attack people is at about 4:30 to 5:30 in the afternoon, when traditionally People are leaving work and going home, trying to go pick up the kids, trying to get to the basketball game, whatever it may be. So even well-trained cyber operators, even people like myself, can be tricked to click through something at the wrong time of day if it's well-crafted. This one's not quite there. This is a foreign country code. You can look up what country this comes from, but again, it doesn't mean that it's really coming from that country. It just means somebody's using a number from that country. But down here, this URL is really what gives it away. USPS.com-BNSG, some random characters.VIP. The rest of this is what really gives it away, that it is a scam, except for the fact that the United States Postal Service doesn't text most people, and they definitely never text from a +63 number. But I actually want to use this as a demo to show you what could happen if you click through this and give your, let's say that you do have a USPS account, a U.S. Postal Service account for your small business, or you just do eBay on the side and you sell things every now and then, so you ship and have an account. I'm going to take you out to a virtual machine here, Kali Linux box. There we go. That looks just like a real attacker machine because this one can be used to attack. And we're going to use something called the Social Engineers Toolkit. I want to show you how easy it is for attackers to develop a phishing link that'll go behind an email or a text message like that one. I come to Social Engineering Tools and open up the Social Engineers Toolkit. So if you're taking one of our courses through CyberNow and you've got access to a Kali VM, you can find this under menu number 13 and SE Toolkit, or the Social Engineer Toolkit, in Kali Linux. So you click on that SE Toolkit. You have to enter the password for the machine that you're on. For most Kali installations, that is just Kali, K-A-L-I, by default. And we're going to do a social engineering attack. You're going to notice this takes about 4 menu options, just 1, 2, 3, and then maybe another 1 or 2. So let's do 1, social engineering attack. Notice there are lots of other menus I'm not going to go through today, but I just want to show this one. 2, we're going to do a website attack vector. We're going to do a credential harvester, number 3. That means that we're going to try to steal someone's username and password or their credentials to log into a site or a service. And then instead, there are web templates built into Social Engineers Toolkit and Kali. You can make it look like Google, make it look like Twitter, a few other sites, but I'm going to do a site cloner. I'm going to choose to clone a website. And I need to just press enter to choose this machine's IP address. And for the website I'm going to fake, I'm actually going to fake USPS.com's login page. So I'll copy this entire URL. So I just have to find a page that has a login and come to the URL to clone, and I'm going to paste that right in here. Now what the Social Engineers Toolkit is doing is going out and copying all of the code at USPS.com, and now it's waiting. It says the credential harvester is running on port 80. I can go into my Firefox, and now if I go to my local address, look at that. It looks like USPS.com. And so I can enter a username and password. The username is Bryson Payne, and this is not my real password. It's good to have a long passphrase for important accounts. Now, Firefox is trying to help me out and say, hey, this is not a secure website, but you might not have looked at that, and most browsers don't warn you real time. So I click sign in, and notice what this web page is going to do. So I click sign in. It may take a little bit of time to refresh. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and click away and show you what's happening in the background. On the attacker's computer, so they sent me that malicious link that said click through USPS.com - a bunch of random characters. I clicked through it on my phone and I logged in. This is what they see on their screen in real time. My username, Bryson Payne, and this is not my real password. If that were my password, I just gave away my password to hackers from my cell phone just by clicking through that malicious link. It's that quick and easy for somebody to set up a malicious social engineering webpage, a phishing website that looks just like the United States Postal Service. And here's the kicker. After you click that sign in button, usually it'll redirect you to the real USPS.com. I think I may be on a machine that's not connected out to the internet, and that's okay, since this is my hacking machine. But it looks like it could be, except it's in the dark format because I'm on Kali. But it looks like a real USPS. It's got the URL up here. But here's the scary thing. Hackers can even mess with that URL just by adding a few more characters, USPS.com. And I'm not going to add those characters because that goes to a server that was registered on Christmas Day, oddly enough, by hackers during the holiday break. So they registered it and started sending out spam emails that day, spam text messages that day. So they're working fast, catching who they can catch, and then getting out of there. So I'll say USPS.com at localhost. And that looks like it could be a real web address, USPS.com, or if localhost throws you off, you might see numbers 127.0.0.1. Oh, sorry, I don't have my didn't have my numlock on. USPS.com at 127.0.0.1. Now that looks like it might really be a U.S. Postal Service's address, but you hit it and it says, it's actually about to take you to 127.0.0.1. And if you say yes, you come right back to my phishing website. Tyler Wall, who would never click through this email, comes in here and says, this is also not his real password. He clicks to sign in. And the attacker now has 2 usernames and passwords to try. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there, this may even be you, but don't raise your hand, who reuse the same username and password on multiple sites. So if what you use for your Facebook login or your US Postal Service login, your Twitter login, your Instagram is also what you use to get into your email. It's what you use to get into your bank accounts. Then it may only take one username and password click through like this one for somebody to access all your most sensitive accounts. Your email is the most important one. We'll come back and talk about it in a moment. Any questions on this one? Tyler, did I miss anything in the comments there while it was turned away on the big screen?
No, I would definitely not click on this.
I'm glad. You and I have been through a few of these trainings, right? That's great.
Right.
All right, so let's pop back over here. But you see how this one little text message that was free for an attacker to send from the other side of the planet or the other side of the state could immediately lead to somebody giving up their username, password that may go to multiple accounts, maybe their work, maybe their home email. You never know. Number 3 is a little bit easier. If you're not using a device, turn it off. You need to make sure that your devices are physically secure, right? If you walk away from your laptop in Starbucks or in McDonald's or Chick-fil-A, for even a few seconds, it doesn't even take a few minutes, an attacker can access your files, or they can just walk off with your whole computer and everything on it. So turn off devices when you're not using them. Turn off Bluetooth or Wi-Fi if you're not using them. Close mobile apps when you're done with them. Turn off your computer and your phone overnight if you can. It's much better for your sleep, your health, and your sanity if you're able to turn off your cell phone and your computer at night. Of course, lock your doors, keep your devices. That goes for your house, that goes for your car. Keep your devices with you and be careful what you plug into your computer. Even if you just walk away for a moment and leave that laptop open, somebody can walk up with a tiny flash drive, plug in, and grab all of your sensitive data from your laptop. Another one is just to think before you click. We all get emails and messages, text messages that are spam, that are urgent, that seem urgent. But if you're not sure about the source of an email, an attachment, a file, a text message, just don't click through. Even if something comes through urgent, like a social engineering example, like your account has been hacked, click here to go to Google to change your sign-in settings. Don't click there. go out to your Google account, go out to Gmail in a separate browser window, type it in by hand instead of clicking the link and just trusting that that's Twitter, that's Facebook, that's Google, that's your bank. This one is more, this one applies more to younger students. Don't download illegal files or pirated software, music, or movies, but there are those of us who have silver hair that do some of those things as well. This is just a good reminder that malicious hackers love to hide evil surprises in those free files. So if something should cost money, but looks like it doesn't, it may cost you in some other way. But if you enter your websites directly through your browser rather than clicking through an email, you're going to be much safer. Make sure you spell that URL correctly, like we saw with the Amazon example earlier. And if a mobile app asks for too many permissions, these days it's a good idea to just delete it or deny it and find one that does what you want with fewer permissions. Malicious mobile apps are on the rise, and I'm afraid that's getting much worse day by day. So if you notice your cell phone doing something funny after downloading an app, delete that app. Turn your cell phone off and on again, just like you would with your computer. Here's a great example. This is a live demo that I do with my students, but this one takes a little longer. We've only got an hour today. So we won't do this live demo, but I can actually set up a file called Fortnite cheat mode.exe or cute puppies and kittens.mov for those of you who click through a puppies and kittens video, and upload it to a web folder. And then when you download it on your Windows computer, it can give me full access. If you just download and run that file, or you just double click to open it and run it straight from the web, it can give me direct access to your laptop or desktop remotely over the internet. So I'm still here on my Kali attacker computer. You can see I'm in Kali, my attack machine, but I am viewing my Windows desktop on another computer in another part of the house, just because we clicked through and downloaded this file that said it was free, but I knew it probably wasn't the real thing. Unfortunately, they can turn on your webcam, they can turn on your microphone, they can sniff your keyboard, so they can capture keystrokes to get your usernames, passwords, the websites you visited, and much, much more. It's a scary world out there, so just be aware that when you download an executable and even other file types, PDFs, you name it, that may be infected, you may be giving somebody remote access to your entire computer. Now, the good news is if you turn your computer off and on again, usually you'll clear that, but there are pieces of malware that can persist or that can stay on your computer even after you reboot. A great example is ransomware that will trigger later on. So think before you click. Better yet, don't click through anything at all. Just go out to the real site or play Fortnite without the cheat codes. Number 5 is sometimes a controversial one, but I'll share where I stand on this one. I prefer to tell my students and community members when I give this talk out in public to use a password manager and two-factor authentication wherever they can. The simple reason is that we have, on average, just the regular person in the United States has around 40 passwords. Sometimes that's 40 usernames and 40 passwords. But most people's passwords, because they have so many, become really simple or become a repeat with just a few characters changed at the end. And that's a practice that we have to be really careful about, because if somebody does trick you into giving up one password and that password is used across multiple accounts, they can try your Wells Fargo account, your Bank of America account, your Google email, your Outlook email with that same password. And there's a good chance that that one password or that one password plus a few digits at the end. If you do this is a bad password 1, this is a bad password 2, this is a bad password 3, and just change digits at the end, somebody can pretty quickly figure out that pattern and tell that you've got a bad password for lots of different accounts. By the way, a passphrase like this is a bad password is not actually a terrible password. But what I tell students is that if you're using a password manager, the good thing is you enter all of your passwords into that password manager, and then you can reset them all to be really long, complex, uppercase, lowercase, random characters, symbols. And you never even have to know what those passwords are for any of your accounts except for two. You need one long passphrase. 4 or 5 words is usually enough. It can even be a line from a song as long as you don't hum it while you're typing it in on the keyboard. One long passphrase for your password manager. So about once a month, you actually have to type in a passphrase to get access to all of your passwords. And that one password you can store someplace safely. If you've got a safe, or if you've never let your wallet out of your sight, you could write it plus a few little extra characters that are not part of that password. So you throw someone off if they were to pick up your wallet. But don't leave it on your computer. Don't write out that passphrase on a Post-it on your computer. Put that Post-it in your wallet or hide it someplace where it's not directly accessible next to your computer. You usually don't let your wallet or maybe the inside of your cell phone case go without being attached to it. So you can write down that passphrase, especially if you are sharing passwords or sharing an account with a family member, or have older family members, have younger family members. It's not a bad idea to keep a secure written copy someplace that only you would be able to find it or know what it is. You don't have to say, this is my #lane password or 1Password passphrase. But you need one long passphrase to get into your password manager, and then all of your other passwords can be automatically filled by the password manager. The second password you need, the second passphrase, is to your email account. I don't ever put my email account inside my password manager. That's why I have 2 passphrases. One gets me into all of my other passwords in my password manager that are random, complex, long, and encrypted. I don't even know most of my passwords because I use a long passphrase and protect them in an encrypted password manager. You can download one, or you've got a password manager now with your Android device or your iPhone, either one. It'll store your passwords for you. But one long passphrase to get into that device or password manager. And then you need one more password, a full passphrase for your email account. The reason for keeping those 2 things separately is that if somebody hacks into your password manager, they won't be able to get into your email. And your email is where you get all your passwords reset. Remember, if you click through, I need to reset my password, they send the link to your email 99% of the time. So keep your email out of your password manager. And the great thing is, if your email is not in your password manager, then even if somebody breaks in, you can still reset all of your passwords back. You also don't want somebody who gets into your password manager to be able to get into your email account, because they can do the same thing. They can reset all of those passwords without you knowing it. Turning on 2-factor authentication definitely helps for your most important accounts. Sometimes it seems a little bit annoying to have to click through and allow that text message or enter a few digits of a text message, but it's much better to have 2-factor authentication on your important accounts, bank accounts, credit cards, your email account, for example, so that if somebody steals your password or breaks into your password manager, which can happen, it's rare, but it can happen, you still would have a way to get into that account, a way to reset that password that they won't be able to clone easily. So have really unique, almost uncrackable passwords for every account stored in your password manager that you don't have to remember. But turn on your 2-factor authentication for your most important accounts and keep 2 passphrases out there. One for your email, separate from your password manager, and one for your password manager that does not have your email password in it. Number 6 is an easy one, but most of us don't do it regularly. Update your software as regularly as you can. I tell my students about once a week is a really smart thing, especially for somebody working in cyber. Turn on automatic updates for your Windows or for your MacBook. Update your Chrome browser when it starts to bark at you, or your Firefox browser. Update once a week or once a month at the minimum. Update your other apps. If you've got cell phone apps that you use to access banking or things, turn on automatic updates or run an update as soon as it's available. Pick a certain day of the month, like the day you pay bills. If you still manually pay a few bills, on the 1st or on the 30th, Just mark your calendar to update your desktop, your laptop, your phone, all your applications. Most of the malware out on the internet attacks known vulnerabilities or patched updates that have already been fixed out there, but it attacks the old version of that software on people who haven't updated or patched their systems, their phones, their laptops, even your smart television. You can do a firmware update and reload everything. Update your Amazon Fire TV if you use one of those, or Apple TV, any other device. Those are now computers, and they need to be updated about once a month just to be safe. So when you see one of those updates for your car, one of those updates for your phone, one of those updates for your laptop, do it as quickly as you safely can. About once a week, if you're being very proactive, will keep you away from 99.9% of the known pieces of malware out on the internet. If you do it about once a month, you're still going to be 99+% safe compared to someone who doesn't apply those patches and updates. Next, protect your most sensitive data. Now, when I say protect, I mean protect where you access it and protect where it's stored and how it's stored. So, for example, when you're traveling, you go to a hotel or you're in an airport and you use a kiosk machine, or you use a business office machine, or you use a shared public library computer, it's best not to log into your banking, maybe even your personal email on those remote computers. If you've got a cell phone or a laptop, use that. Find a public Wi-Fi, and it's better to have a VPN to protect your information while you're traveling. We'll talk about that in one moment. But do sensitive work on a protected computer. So if you've got a computer at home that's locked inside your house, that doesn't go out traveling with you, that you do your banking on, your most important work like your taxes coming up here, it's tax season almost, make sure that you update that machine regularly and that you do all of that work on that computer that's updated, that's well protected. You also want to have that backed up. You may even want to encrypt all of your sensitive files with BitLocker on PC, FileVault on Mac, or free open source software like VeraCrypt. That way, even if someone steals your laptop, if you've got it BitLocker encrypted, they won't be able to get access to your files. They'll still have your laptop. They'll still be able to wipe it clean and resell it to somebody else, but they won't have your data. So use a complex password, use secure Wi-Fi at home, check your router for any unknown devices sniffing around your network, and then consider encrypting those sensitive files. And this one goes with number 7. Number 8 is turn on your firewall. Turn on your antivirus. And if you have a virtual private network or a VPN, turn that software on, especially if you're traveling. You never want to use your laptop on a public network and log into an unencrypted web page, because your username and password can be public for everybody to see on that wireless network. Sometimes you turn your firewall off to install a game or install a new piece of software because it causes an error, but turn it back on as soon as you reasonably can. Update your antivirus software every week or every month, or turn it on automatic updates. They only protect you if they're turned on and if they're up to date. And if you're traveling a lot, get a VPN for your cell phone so that you know that when you're connecting to random Wi-Fi at the airport, at a hotel, at a coffee shop, whether it's across town or across the ocean, that VPN will encrypt your traffic. There are free VPNs out there, and most good VPN services, your antivirus may come with a VPN service built in, but most VPN services you can get for just $1 or $2 per month. I think I spend maybe $3 or $4 a month for a decent commercial VPN. You can always catch them on special during the year. It is better to avoid, one of the comments out there in the chat was, it's better to avoid free VPNs. That's absolutely right. Unfortunately, free VPNs can be malicious as well, or they just do a worse job of protecting you. I won't recommend a particular VPN. I'll tell you, if your antivirus has a VPN, it's fine to use that, and you usually get it included with whatever you pay for an annual subscription for your antivirus. Again, usually less than $5 to $10 a month, including antivirus and VPN protection. But some of the commercial ones out there, whether it's Nord or whether it's your Avira or something attached to your VPN, attached to your antivirus, anything that you're using that costs just a few bucks a month is probably safe enough to protect you while you're traveling. You just want something that's going to encrypt your traffic when you're on an untrusted public Wi-Fi network, like the airport, like a hotel, like a coffee shop or library. Just downloading and turning those three things on: firewall, antivirus, and VPN, you're going to be more secure than 80 to 90% of people out on the internet. Here's a quick example. You can see that once you log in on Wi-Fi, you've got a list of all of those places that you've been, but you can only protect yourself if you're using your firewall, antivirus, and again, if you travel a lot, your VPN. Number 9, back up the data you want to keep. Has anybody ever heard the old dentist's quote, "Only floss the teeth that you want to keep"? I used to have a dentist that would tell me that, you only need to floss the teeth that you want to keep. Oh, I think I want to keep all of them. Well, it may be true for your data too. Back up the data that you want to keep. The best defense against ransomware, against a stolen laptop, against fire, flood, or destruction, accidental deletion, is just to have a good cloud-based backup service or offsite or remote backup, even in your own home. If you have a large hard drive that you keep in a location that's separate from your regular computer, at least you'll have a backup in case something goes wrong. But a cloud backup service can be just a few, it can be tens to less than $100 per year to be able to store gigabytes or even terabytes of data. And you'll want to make sure that those are encrypted. But you can do a search to find secure cloud-based backup services that will give you access to your files if your laptop's stolen, if it burns up in a fire, gets flooded, or gets water spilled on it. If you get a piece of ransomware and it sits on your computer or your network and then encrypts everything, or if your laptop just gets stolen from a hotel, from an airplane, from your suitcase, if you've got a backup out there, you'll be able to restore those files, recover them, and you can even encrypt those files before you upload them to give yourself extra security. So you can back up to an external hard drive once a month is a good rule of thumb, or use a cloud backup service for just a few bucks a month. Search online for one that's highly rated, has really good reviews, good features, and may even back up multiple family members all to the same device or same account. And then number 10, this one's really important for all of us. Communicate, communicate, communicate. Talk with your family, talk with your coworkers. If you don't have a person that you call when you think something might be a scam, you might be that person that other people call who think that something might be a scam. Be a point of contact for the people in your family who aren't as computer savvy as yourself, especially our Black Badge members. You're learning very important security principles throughout your other courses here at CyberNow Education. You could be that person that you tell your kids, you tell your parents, you tell your aunts and uncles, your cousins to contact if they think they're being scammed. In several cases, I've been able to help friends and family who've contacted me as soon as they got off the phone with an attacker who was trying to steal gift cards, trying to steal their credit card information, making charges against their bank account. But if someone doesn't call me or doesn't call someone they trust, an IT person at their office or at work, maybe a good point person, someone in a civic organization that you're a part of, have somebody that you can talk with about these things, and then offer to be that person. Once you take care of your own cyber needs, you can help others. But communicate with your kids, with your parents, with older family members, vulnerable family members about online and real world threats, because you want to talk about it, let them know that they are a target, even if the attacker never finds out their name, doesn't know how much money they have or don't have, they can still be a target. Encourage your family members, your coworkers, your colleagues to talk to you if they're ever unsure about what to do, or if they ever experience cyberbullying or harassment of any kind. It's not just somebody trying to steal your information. It could be somebody trying to coerce you trying to harass you online as well. So in conclusion, I want to hit all 10 of these and then open it up for some questions. We have enough time to answer a few Q&As here at the end. Number one, remember you are a target. Even if you don't feel like you have that much, you have something that somebody else on the other side of the state or the other side of the globe wants to take from you, whether that's money, your online reputation, your access to your files. Somebody wants what you've got, and they will take it if they're given the chance. So watch out for social engineering, number two. Don't fall for phishing text messages that ask you to click through a link to get a package, or click through a link because you're in trouble, or click through a link because your CEO needs something, or your son or daughter is overseas and Western Union says you've got to send some money to get them out of jail. Look out for those social engineering attacks. If you're not sure, delete that text message and reach out and call the person that it's supposed to be. Don't use the cell phone link. Don't use the number on the other end of that text message. Call your family member's cell phone. Call your boss's phone and see if it really is them that's asking for that information. If it is, then you do whatever you're supposed to do. But don't fall for a social engineering attack. They're trying to get you to act without thinking, and that's usually a bad idea. Number three, keep those devices physically secure, your cell phone, your laptop, even your desktop computer. Turn them off if you're not using them. Turn them off when you go to sleep if you can. It can help your sanity and peace of mind. Number four, think before you click. Whether it's an email attachment, a text message, any web page that you visit or that pops up as a result of a search, think before you click. Just turn on that front part of your brain and go, wait a minute. Why am I at Microsoft? I was trying to go to Amazon. Or why is the U.S. Postal Service sending me a text message? Don't they do mail for a living? Think before you click through. Number five, use a password manager, especially if you're a busy IT person and you have hundreds of accounts and passwords. It can do several things for you. It can keep you from reusing a bad password and just changing a few characters at the end or middle or beginning. It can give you really long, complex passwords that you don't even have to remember yourself. You just remember the passphrase that gets you into your password manager on your phone or on your computer. And turn on two-factor authentication for your important accounts that you really want to protect. Your email, any financial accounts, and access to any of your personal information. Number six, run those updates. When Windows, when your Mac, when your cell phone, when your browser tells you it's time to do an update or there's a security patch or a security update available, take some time once a week or at the minimum once a month to do those updates. You'll protect yourself from more than 99% of the threats on the internet just by doing that one thing. Number seven, protect your most sensitive data. If you're traveling, you make sure you want to turn on your VPN there. And number eight, turn on your firewall, your antivirus, encrypt files that have really sensitive information. For your business, you want to make sure you encrypt your payroll files, your customer databases, so that other people can't break in. If you travel, especially turn on that VPN and firewall and antivirus on your laptop. Even a VPN on your phone is a good idea. You don't necessarily have to have an antivirus running on your cell phone, but a VPN is a really good idea, and your laptop should definitely have a firewall and a good paid antivirus subscription. And number nine, back up the data you want to keep. A cloud-based service may only cost you a few dollars a month, whether that's iCloud if you run an iPhone device, whether that's one of the Google Drive services that will back up your Android device, or any of the various backup services out on the internet that will back you up to the cloud. Back up that data. I've talked to way too many people who said, I didn't want to pay that $1.99 or $2.99 to Google, or that $1.99 or $2.99 to Apple. And then I dropped my phone in the lake, or then my phone burned up, or my phone died. I lost all my pictures of my family. Is there any way? Well, yeah, there are ways to get those files back. You can send that device, if you didn't drop it to the bottom of the lake, you can send it to a data recovery specialist. These services will charge you about $1,000 on average to get back all your files, but most of the time they're going to be able to recover files from a burned, from a drowned, from a device that's been run over. any kind of device, they'll be able to recover most of your files usually, but it may cost you $1,000 or more to get those files back. $1 or $2 or $3 or $5 a month is not too bad a price to be able to pay to keep that data secure. You can even, if you back up to an external hard drive, take the hard drive to your safety deposit box at your bank. If you want a really low-tech, easy, low-cost way, you've already got a safety deposit box possibly. Back up to a hard drive at least once a year. All your favorite files, all your important documents, all your pictures of your family, and then just take that over. You can buy a multiple terabyte hard drive for under $100 these days. Back up everything in your house, your laptop, your phone, pictures, take it and drop it in your safety deposit box. If you wind up losing a device or a fire or flood happens, bad ice storm, a lightning strike occurs, you can go get those files from the bank. At least you only lose a few months at the most. And number 10, talk with your family, talk with your coworkers, your employees, talk with even your supervisors. You won't do any damage communicating and opening up a line of communication to somebody who knows more about cybersecurity and might be able to help you out in a pinch, or by opening up that communication with a younger or older family member or any vulnerable family members that might otherwise get attacked by somebody trying to take whatever little they may have. So follow those tips. You'll avoid being an easy target. Remember, you don't have to be faster than the bear. You just have to be faster than the other hikers on the trail. So if there are other people around the world, other people in the country who don't do their updates, who don't back up their files safely, that don't run their VPN when they're traveling, then those people are going to be easier targets, and hopefully most attackers won't do the extra work that it takes to get to you individually. So I hope that's been helpful for you today. And I think we have enough time for some questions. I do have a quick link there, and this is a safe link to go to, just a short link, so you can go straight to Go Hack Yourself on Amazon, amzn.to, and a little bit of a random number set there, 3ZZUZQ, capital Q. Will take you directly to the short URL for Go Hack Yourself. You can also just go out to BrysonPayne.com and click through the link. Thank you to Tyler. Thank you to the CyberNow education team. It's an honor to be a part of the Black Badge crew. And thank you to those of you who've joined live. Thank you if you've joined for the recorded version of this. Milton, thank you.
Thank you so much, Bryson, for coming and joining us today. Remember that he has his latest book, Go Hack Yourself, out that you can buy anywhere books are sold. It's a fantastic book. I have it right here in front of me. It's on my desk. I actually had Bryson sign it. Bryson lives nearby me. We have coffee sometimes. I had him sign his own book last time he was here, and very happy to have it. I have it sitting right here. It's a really fun book. There's a associated course with it. And as a Black Badge member, you'll have access to called Hack Now. And it has it's his book on video form and has a lab attached to it. It's a really great, fun exercise. This concludes our initiative for senior citizens. I wanted to do something in memory of my grandmother, Virginia, and my grandfather, Bud Stebbins. And because the senior citizens are the most vulnerable population out there for cybersecurity, and there just wasn't enough engaging material out there for us to show people. And so we're doing our bit. And this webinar is going to be posted on our website, as is we produced a high quality YouTube video. That's a lot of fun. It's not boring or anything. It's a great YouTube video. We're going to post all this, and it's going to live on our website, and for any, share it with your parents and your grandparents, and we're all going to do our part to protect the most vulnerable population. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.